Hello and welcome back to Game Chat. It's Brunner here. Got the boys, comedian, Elite, and Anthony. And
What's up?
today we're going to be talking about a show that has been in the works for the longest time, and now it is here. And two of its episodes just got released, and that show that we're talking about is Kenobi. And some of us have the same opinions, some of us have mixed opinions. So today we'll talk about it. Who wants to go first?
I'll go and go first. Overall, by the time this episode's out, only episode 1 and 2 is out, so that's pretty good. And I think it's a smart move to release 2 episodes at one time, just because they built up the hype for it. It lives up to it. Each episode's an hour. That's a pretty good length. We have some good cameos in there. Great soundtrack. I personally love it. There are a few issues I have with the storyline, but again, I don't want to get too much into the negative because my questions could be answered throughout the season. So, first thing I want to say is it looks really good, beautiful CGI. You could tell that the delay was really worth it. I think it was like a 1 year or 2 year delay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's really beautiful. I think it looks better than Book of Boba Fett and Mando. That's just me though. And the second thing I really liked was they paid tribute to the prequels with a lot of
Mm-hmm.
nods to the old characters and some pieces throughout the sets, and then some Easter eggs for the New Hope and the future, like the toy that they gave them and stuff like that. So I won't go into the negatives now. I'll wait till everybody is done with the positives, and then we'll go into the negatives. But I gave it a 12 out of 10. But I just I love Obi-Wan. That's a personal biased score. He's my favorite Star Wars character of all time. So I was waiting for this since it got announced. Since Disney Plus, before Disney Plus was a thing. I don't know. But that's what I think. 12 out of 10. Crispy score.
Okay.
All right. Anybody want to go next, or should I?
Um, or let's have, or you go next.
All right. Some positives I like for the show. Of course, it did look good. Um, I loved that they played that opening recap of just basically 1 through 3. It looked really good. Like for Disney, I was surprised because they somehow seem to like shadow ban like the prequels, like, oh, they didn't happen, like they try and stay away from it. But
Yeah.
now this is an official Disney title. It's always good to see that there. And yeah, I like Ewan McGregor looks great. I like that they got we were talking, and they got the homie from episode 3, the guy, same guy who played Uncle Owen, and then the
Yeah.
homegirl who also played Amber Rose back from episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what you call it? I like to see, even though that these two kids are on two different planets, they have the same energy. Like they hide from their parents, and then they go on the tallest thing, and they pretend they're in their own world.
Yeah.
And so I like it a lot. We're not going to get into negatives now, but that's what I have to say.
Okay. I guess I'll. I guess I'll go. So my positives. There's some great, like, of course, like the recap is absolute just nostalgia overload for prequels. It's cool to see. And then there's a few like really great character moments for Obi-Wan. Uh, Leia has some great character moments, and so does Bail Organa and his wife, which we don't know much about, but it's cool to see them. See what they're like. Uh, for the most part, the cinematography, like the camera work, is great. There are some things here and there that are a little iffy, but yeah, they. Most people are going to be watching the show for Obi-Wan, and so far they seem to be doing a great job with Obi-Wan. So
What would you give it a score?
so I liked episode 1 way more than episode 2. So I would probably give episode 1 like probably like a 8 or 9 out of 10. And then episode 2 is where I was finding myself kind of like getting a little bit more irritated than the first one. So episode 2, I'd probably have to give it like probably like 6 or a 7 out of 10, maybe like a, I don't know, just maybe 6.5, I guess.
That's a good one. Yeah, 6.5. Right in the middle. So that's the controversial one, I guess you could say. But I have heard the same thing from other people. Keep in mind, guys, when this episode's out, only 2 episodes have been released, so don't hate us. But again, these are personal opinions. Elite, what do you think of the first 2 episodes?
That was okay. I thought it was, I really liked the whole how they started out, like the first 10 minutes of the prequels, like kind of catching you all up, and I thought that was really good, and I thought it was really interesting with the way they've kind of broken Ben down, like how he's just kind of like now he's Ben, he's no longer Obi-Wan, he's kind of like broke down. I thought that was kind of cool to see. I think that all in all, I think it's good. I was saying to Brunner, I really like the fact they brought a lot of the cast back, like Jimmy Schmitz, and they brought back, Uncle Owen, and it's the cast that was in the prequel. The thing I think they did a really good job, honestly, is I feel like literally it was just yesterday he walked out of the room with Senator Organa, and I felt like I lived that 10 years. I feel like literally it was just literally like almost seamless, if that makes any sense. Like it doesn't feel like, I don't know, somehow Ewan McGregor doesn't feel like he aged much from the movie. Like they did a good job making him look like it was maybe 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was really good. And all in all, I think it was decent. When we kind of talk about the negatives, you'll kind of understand. I too am also in that 7.5, 8. Um, Cinematography, it was great. I think the CGI was great. I think there was just for me a couple situations that we'll talk about that were huge misses for me. But all in all, I mean, it's decent.
For sure, you gotta admit that bringing back the old cast to give them justice for the hate the prequels got throughout the years is kind of not heartwarming, but satisfying to see.
I don't think the prequels really got hate. I just think
Oh, they
certain
got hate.
characters got hate. In my opinion, like I always thought they were decent standalone movies, other than a couple characters. And then Attack of the Clone Wars is a little bit too much love, but I guess you needed that love to kind of understand his whole relationship with Padme. So to me, I don't think if you took Jar Jar out of the first movie and you had a better actor for Anakin, I think a young Anakin, I think it would have been a stronger movie. But I mean, really, like when you're going to get a 6-year-old kid or however old that kid was, really, no, it's not like everybody's going to be an Anthony Hopkins or at that age. You know what I'm saying? They haven't got those chops yet. So I don't think they were really like, in my opinion, I'm not giving them a ton of hate other than a couple key character. And I know what George was trying to do with Jar Jar. That was supposed to be his C-3PO of that run. Like they were supposed to be the comedic guy. So it just kind of failed. That to me, that was the only thing in that whole series of 3 movies that was really rough to watch and more it was a fact of a language situation. It was kind of hard for me to understand him and the other Gungans at times, to be honest with you. But sure. You got slobberers, but you know what I'm saying? So I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not like, I don't want to be kind of like, I'm not a hater on them because is I feel they fit the mold of the problem. The problem I think with any time we talk about these, okay, anytime you talk about them, we already got like Anthony's like a 12 out of 10 because it's a love for him. It's going to always be they could have put a pile of dung out there and he would have probably been like, oh, it's a 10 because it's Kenobi. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
So it's,
I don't think so,
it,
but
but when you're talking about something that people love, we had the same discussion about Batman, something I love. You know what I'm saying? So it's really hard for me at times. And I think that was the problem with those prequels is those first three movies, New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi, classic standalone. And there was a whole generation that was expecting those exact same three movies, like that kind of build up. And George went a different way. And I think that's where people kind of, but you got to look at it as it's different points in his whole filmmaking career too. You know, every time you look at these things, people evolve and it's different. CGI is better now than it was in the 70s. And so it's just different. I just think that's the way to look at it. The one thing is kind of ironic is we had a conversation 2 weeks ago, I think it was, about Marvel TV shows versus production of movie production and how they were kind of cut. The TV shows kind of were shit. I feel like they did not do that with Star Wars. That Kenobi, I thought they did a great job.
Yeah.
With the CGI with that. I honestly thought that was and it's kind of interesting because I saw a YouTube video and it had Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor in it, and they were talking about the filming of this and filming of the other, the prequels, so I guess we're calling them. And they were like, "Oh, I guess they used different lightsabers this time."
Yeah.
And he said it was very weird to get used to them because they were a lot lighter and they didn't move as nice. He goes, the old lightsabers back in the day, and the lightsabers, he said, were much better because they actually bent and stuff. They were hard. And so he was talking about that. And I thought that was kind of interesting that even the evolution of what were those made 12 years ago? You know, I don't know.
A little more than that, I think, but
Yeah.
yeah, I see your point.
You know,
But getting to the
it's
negatives, I just want to say something before. Any more thoughts from anybody else? Comedian. So getting to the negatives, I guess one thing that I'll start
you
off.
can't
since
have
I'm
any
the
negatives
fanatic.
because you have 12s. You had 12 out of 10. You can't have any negatives. That's be perfect.
Okay, so anyway, if anyone's watched Rebels, they would know that Vader doesn't know that Obi-Wan's alive, and the Grand Inquisitor dies in Rebels. So there's a huge gap plot hole there. I really do hope they fix that down the line. I know when my face reaction when he got stabbed was like,
yeah. So for
please
context,
don't do this to me because comedian's gonna have a field day with this. That's the first thing I thought.
So what Anthony is saying is in episode 2, towards the end of episode 2, the Grand Inquisitor gets stabbed in the chest, and yeah. So that's what Anthony's meaning when he is talking about that.
Yeah, so he gets stabbed in the chest.
You put a disclaimer at the beginning. There is spoilers.
Again, there could be change. I think he comes back alive personally, and just I don't know. That made me facepalm. I guess that'd be my only problem with the show. I'm curious to hear your guys' though.
So mine is kind of ironic. I wanted to be very quiet about this. I told Brunner already mine 3 days ago, the day it happened. So he already knows. It's kind of interesting. And I asked Jack what he thought of it, my son, and he said the exact same thing. We all feel like Reyna was a horrible casting. And the casting of it, and it was really comes down to, and you put it good right before in pre-production, Mike, is I agree with you. It's the dialogue. It's the way her dialogue is.
Yeah.
This woman used to be a Jedi. So she was from the highest order. And now she's like basically low on the totem pole is the way the Grand Inquisitor made it sound. Mm-hmm. Okay. But the funny part is that like I never heard a Jedi like, get out of my way, move. Like just talk like that. It almost sounds like kind of like she's walked out of a like 1980s gang movie. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's very poor acting and very poor scripting of that one character. Like it just, even Darth Vader was more like, remember like his line of, like he has like these lines that are just, he's very articulate the way he talks,
Yeah.
and it's just like, she just did not seem to come across that way. And it just, I thought was a poor casting, poor script right for her. I think they could have did better with the scripting. The other thing I did not at first like, and now it's growing on me, I love the fact that they're showing how Leia's growing up as opposed to how Luke grew up. We already had kind of an idea, even in A New Hope, how Luke grew up like on the farm vaporizing water or whatever the hell they do there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like hating life. So now we get to see how Leia grew up on almost like in a privileged life compared to Luke's. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of, at first I was kind of like, oh, they spent way too much time on her. But I think taking Anthony's advice, which I am, I think I'm going to put that in a pocket because I think they had to spend that much time because I think it's creating Ben back to Obi-Wan,
Mm-hmm.
making him realize that still has the Force, like when he stopped her from falling, spoiler alert, and like just the fact that he still has you know what I'm saying? He's still a Jedi. I think that he's been beaten down enough over the last 10 years that he kind of forgot the fact of who he was. But that's the only two complaints I really had of it. So it wasn't that bad, Anthony. I think you thought I was going to come in here and lay the big egg on it, but it was just really that. I didn't think.
I don't want to say anything. So.
But and so
we'll go ahead and let comedian. I want to hear comedian.
Yeah. So going off of what Elite said, like, this is kind of like a positive. I'm going to start out as a positive and then I'm going to move into a negative. But so from what I've noticed, like everybody but Reva has great dialogue. It's, the dialogue is great and their delivery is great. But when it comes to specifically her, I feel like I don't know if they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
because it feels like it's on
weird.
purpose. Like they feel like it feels like they are purposely making her just cringe. Because there was a lot of lines that I'm just like, why are you saying it like that? But so yeah, like her character is extremely unlikable, and I'm like, I know she's gonna be in the rest of the series, but like I do not have any interest in like paying attention to anything about her at all. And so there's the thing about the Grand Inquisitor, and like I am hoping that he is not actually dead. So I'm kind of like reserving that to see how the rest of the show plays out. But that like Anthony, like I kind of face palmed at that. I'm like, I really hope he's not dead. And now the main negative for me is the fact that at the end of episode 2, when Leia and Obi-Wan are trying to escape whatever planet they were on, Reva tracks
down... like Singapore.
Yeah, she tracks down Obi-Wan and can sense him. They're not face to face, but she can sense him, and then she reveals to him that Anakin Skywalker is still alive.
Vader will be pleased. You didn't know. He's alive, Obi-Wan. Anakin Skywalker is alive.
And that he is, Darth Vader, Lord Vader. And there is... Now, I'm partially putting this negative on hold, too, because I really hope they explain it I hope they have, like, a valid explanation for it, but as of right now, nobody should know that, other than Vader himself and Palpatine. Really Palpatine is the only one that knows that Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader. So I don't know.
Yeah, we're talking about this. Him and Yoda will probably be the only ones that know. But Leia's dad.
Well, what I mean is like, so Yoda knows that Obi-Wan and Anakin fought, but they thought
They
that
don't know he's alive.
Yeah, they don't know he's alive. So I'm saying, so like realistically, the only person that knows that Anakin is Vader is like Palpatine.
Well,
I would think.
no,
Yeah,
I don't think so because here we go. An episode in the original trilogy, he knows that Lord Vader is Anakin. You know, he even says throughout the film that he's his dad. You know, he knows Anakin's Lord Vader, and he even says in the prequels like, "You need to take on Lord Vader," which is Anakin. You know what I mean? He tells that to Obi-Wan before he fights Palpatine. So Yoda does know throughout the original trilogy.
But at that point, but I mean like as far as we know from this show, like as of like right now in the show,
Yeah. No, yeah, that's
nobody
it. That
else.
should be the only people. I agree with you there, guys.
Yeah.
I agree with you in there. Reva should not know. Go ahead. Sorry, Brunner. Go ahead.
How do you figure that Senator Organi should know that he's alive? How did you know put that together?
Oh well, no, I don't.
Me?
I mean, like,
yeah, you said Leia's dad knew,
because he was there in the ship when Padme gave birth.
Yeah, but they thought Anakin was dead.
Well, that's what
didn't they?
That's what I meant to say. Like,
aren't they all dead?
The
only people. If they thought Anakin was sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say this. If they thought Anakin was dead, right, and they know Anakin's Lord Vader, and they see Lord Vader on taking over the galaxy, they're gonna think, "Oh, okay, he's still alive."
If the man who fought Anakin himself didn't know he was alive, how is a senator from Alderaan going to know that's Vader?
Well, I'm not saying that he's alive. I mean, like, the only people that know that a fight took place between Obi-Wan and Anakin is Obi-Wan, Yoda,
and Yoda,
and then also the senator because he was on the thing, and so it's like
and the two droids that picked up Anakin.
We'll see.
Droids that picked up maybe the spreading secrets.
But yeah, but like
go ahead. Talking around the oil tank.
Yeah. I was just saying, my complaint. I only have one complaint because I've never seen Rebels, so these are literally my first time seeing these people on screen. So, like, my complaint is, but like, they only did it because it's story wise because of episode 2. Is I don't think that it should have this show should have taken 10 years after taken place 10 years after episode 3. I think it should have taken 5 years because in 6 or 7 years, Ewan McGregor is going to turn into Alec McGuinness. You know what I mean? Because he's 10.
Which is
because like Lee was saying, because I agree. Like Ewan looks good. Like they put like a little gray hair, but I'm like Ewan still looks good. So I'm like, well, you can't have you can't have a 5-year-old being all articulate, as Leia is in episode 2. But I'm like,
and she said she was how old? 9, 10?
Yeah, they're 10.
Yeah. She said she was 10, right? Yeah. And supposedly they're all like 19 years old in A New Hope. Right?
9 years, yeah.
Is it 19 or 17?
I thought they were.
Like
I know
20.
I thought they were like 17 or something.
Okay, so another 10 year passes by. A lot could happen. But
he's not gonna age and look like a 70-year-old man.
Well, I mean, come on, you guys gotta be realistic. He's not the same person as that guy. Like, you guys gotta stop thinking like that.
We know he's not that guy, but we know how the human anatomy and how human age, how skin deteriorates.
When you go
he's not gonna look 70 years old in 10 years.
Age quickly like that too. Trust me.
That's some rough shit.
Oh, you know what? You know what's one thing I did want to mention? I forgot to say is I guess this does explain why Leia knows that. Well, I guess down the line we'll see in the future that Leia knows that Luke is the brother because she's always known supposedly, and that's why she sends a message to Obi-Wan. Maybe I don't know, but I like the relationship they're building and the little nod to Padme they threw out for her. So I'm gonna throw that out there.
One question I did not know, and I kind of still have, there's a couple questions I'm not like ingrained in Star Wars. Like, I feel like I'm in a Star Wars convention here. You guys know much more shit than I ever would. Okay. But it's like, so I look at Leia and one of the things I kind of got a vibe from, like when she was talking to her cousin, quote unquote cousin, the mean kid,
She fucked him up.
Is she able to read minds? Is she already showing like
Force.
signs of the Force
Yeah.
and like reading minds?
That's
Okay.
yeah, that's kind of how I interpret it. Yeah, even though
Okay.
it was
It's because
But
no.
she
Sorry, go
couldn't
ahead.
do that when she was like 19 years old though. Like she didn't show signs
Well,
of the
maybe
Force
it's
when she
like
was an adult.
maybe
Oh yeah, she
like
did.
doesn't it come like
And
earlier? Like you're force sensitive at an early age, and that's how they know. And then like when you grow older, like you really have to work on it so you
yeah,
can
you need
keep
to
it
have
Yeah,
up.
training.
that might be.
And then also in Empire Strikes Back, when they're flying, he's like, "Yeah, I sense Luke." She even remember?
Yeah, that's true. Oh, and there was one scene I thought that was epic in that movie in that Kenobi. Remember, he came out with the damn shovel. At first, I'm like, this is not going to be digging up a ship, is he?
oh yeah,
I really thought I'm like, why don't you just use the Force and pick it up? And he dug out the little box. It was the exact same box he had at his house years later with Luke, and he had both lightsabers in there. So, it, like, answered the question of, there's the lightsaber. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
did have the lightsaber. So he picked up the lightsaber after fighting Darth Vader, and he has that lightsaber. I thought that was mint the way they put that together. There were so many things that kind of connected to A New Hope. Like you brought up earlier, the spaceship. I was saying that to Brunner when I talked to him the other day. Like I remember Luke sitting in the Millennium Falcon playing with the plane, the little tri-wing,
yeah.
and it's like there's so many like little things that they did, like little Luke wearing a blaster helmet, sitting there being a pilot, and just like so many nods where he looked just like little Anakin in pod racing. You know what I'm saying? It almost looked like the same little helmet that Anakin wore. And so I kind of changed it. Maybe it's an 8.5, 9. You know, it's really just that one casting. I think they did a really good job. I too have waited for this for years. So
Yeah, like the first episode was really strong. Like the only negatives were like the scenes with the Inquisitor, like that, or the chase scene with Leia going through the woods. That was just kind of wacky. Like that was
I did think it was funny as one of the kidnappers was Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny. That was kind of cool. And then my other question was, the animal that he's feeding and riding home to his little house every night, is that a Nerf herder?
I think so.
I don't know.
I literally I heard the name of it today and I forgot.
Okay, it wasn't a Nerf herder?
It'll be in the edit.
Okay. Because I was like, dang, man. I thought it was I don't know. But what were you going to say, Anthony? You raised your hand.
Oh no, I didn't raise my hand.
Oh.
Brunner, I thought the Brunner. Did you say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say I think the Night Sister girl, I think she kind of might know Anakin because like she was at the temple at Order 66 and then maybe some of them got rounded up
Yeah.
or like maybe she
Plus-
fleed and like and then once they started like the whole Inquisitor and Night Sister program, like she went into it because maybe she was upset because like she called out Obi-Wan or she called out the Jedis that they flee or like they're not there because Obi-Wan himself wasn't there. And then also maybe she knew she was in Coruscant and she knew who Anakin was. So when she saw Vader with the same type of lightsaber, she's like put two and two together. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm optimistic.
But it was also interesting. It was also interesting too, is that they kind of made it sound like I would like to see more of that because I never watched Rebels, like the whole Order 66. But the way they made it kind of sound is like they were given a choice as a Jedi. Like either you join us and search other Jedi, or you know what I'm saying? And so, because I wonder why she flipped in some other Inquisitors, and you said that every Inquisitor was a Jedi. So there, you know what I'm saying? So I'd like to know how some flipped, why they did flipped, or you know what I'm saying? I just think that's an interesting piece just for me of wanting to know the vast knowledge of it. That's all, you know? I also thought it was cool how they put a Jawa in there. I thought that was kind of cool on
Tika.
Tatooine. He's got a Jawa. I was kind of expecting to see some sand people at some point, but
Yeah.
I think it's kind of. All in all, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I also thought it was really good how they did his robe. His robe looked almost identical, like his robe from like they pulled that freaking all right off of Sir Alex Guinness, dude. It looks like the same goddamn robe.
Also, Morrison, the actor of Boba Fett / the clones, is the only actor to be in all three: Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett,
Was that
and
him in
Obi-Wan.
episode 2?
And yeah, that was him.
Mhm.
Help a veteran get a warm meal.
Because I'm so used to
He played
him
the
with the
clone.
bald head.
Yeah,
Because I know he has a
plays the
bald head in
clones
real
too.
life.
Well, I also didn't know too. I also was kind of like, "What's up with Dinesh, dude? Dinesh gets to play in the Marvel movies.
Dude,
He
Dinesh.
gets to,
Okay, the comedy role does not fit Dinesh in Star Wars. Did anyone else think
you
that?
know,
That the
no,
comedy role?
I didn't
yes
really
and
like
no,
it.
but it was kind of like, dude, Dinesh, my boy he was Silicon Valley. He was awesome. And then I'm like, then he's in the Eternals, and he plays a comedic kind of role in that too. And then I'm like, motherfucker's in Star Wars too. He's got everything going, man. He's like, dang, he's hitting the trifecta.
Getting that money.
He's getting all sorts of Disney money. Damn, Dinesh, you go. And I know that's not his real name. I'm not trying to be a smartass, but it's his name on Silicon
No, yeah,
Valley.
that's what I refer to him as too.
Kumail.
But final closing thoughts. Comedian, you want to start off first? Closing thoughts. Episode 1 and 2.
Yeah, well, like I said, episode 1, for the most part, it's very strong. It's a strong episode, but by that episode 2, it just kind of like tanked a little bit for me, and I'm still hoping that the show improves and has some good answers to a lot of the questions that it raises. But we'll see. By the time it's all the episodes are out, then I don't know.
All right. What about you, Lee? Closing thoughts. Episode 1 and 2.
So I think a lot of it's going to be answered, but as we know that every Star Wars movie and every Star Wars show ever made, all the answers are never answered. There's always going to be questions because otherwise there won't be sequels. So I think that I'm going to kind of wait and see what happens to the next 5 episodes. I'm excited to see when Hayden Christensen comes out. That'd be kind of cool. We know that he's coming out. That'd be neat to see how they do that.
Cool.
And so I think it's going to be interesting. I'm going to give 5. I'm definitely there. I'm involved now, so we're there, which is kind of weird because usually I wait till the end of a series to watch it, but I couldn't wait. So
It's true. What about Brunner? What about you?
Yeah, I'm excited. Definitely want to see what happens next. And also, I want to shout out, people online because they're usually kind of dumb. But Hayden Christensen recently has been receiving a lot of love online. And, he used to get trolled, but now, like, he's finally getting the love he deserves. So I'm glad that that's going on for him.
Thank you for watching it. Watching us. We'll go ahead and keep the series alive. Obi-Wan review series. We'll give it a catchy name. Episode 1 and 2 out now. Episode 3 comes out the Friday of the time of recording this. Thank you guys. Thank you, boys. And see you guys. Oh, check out the social medias. Our YouTubes, Spotify, everything, Apple. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
bye.